Why? You're gonna be in a chair, you're gonna sit down.
Good evening. I will now call to order the October 13th, 2025 special meeting of the Public Safety Commission. David Gazarian, please call roll.
Chair Holguin, Vice Chair Lu, Commissioner G, Commissioner Cervantes, Commissioner Munoz, Commissioner Senko,
Here.
Commissioner Reza.
Here.
We do not have a quorum. This will be an informational report and informational meeting.
We're at public comments. Are there any public comments?
There are no public comments in person or in Zoom.
Seeing none, we move to the presentation. This will be item 2 on the agenda. Sergeant Andrew Dubois.
Yes.
Dubois
Close enough.
will now make a presentation on the South Pasadena Police Department's annual military equipment use report, June 2024 to September 2025.
Thank you, Commissioner G. Good afternoon, good evening to the members of the Public Safety Commission. As introduced, my name's Andrew, and I'll be presenting this year's military equipment report. This report is a summary of the department's interaction with designated military equipment, including acquisitions, usage, training, and fiscal impacts. As a law enforcement agency operating under the public's trust, we take pride in offering an in-depth look at how we use this equipment. This slide deck is intended to provide a clear and comprehensive review for the Public Safety Commission, the City Council, and the public we serve. Now let's walk through each component of the report to understand how your police department uses our military equipment. At the heart of the South Pasadena Police Department's operations lies a strong mission. That is to foster a safer community through exceptional service, community partnerships, and the professional and equitable application of the law. Each of our decisions is filtered through a set of core values: accountability, integrity, respect and equality, and transparency. We endeavor to embed each of these values in our everyday work. When we align our mission statement and our core values, we work to ensure our community receives not only effective policing services, but also an inclusive approach to public safety. Enacted to ensure public oversight, Assembly Bill 481 requires all law enforcement agencies in California to document and justify the use and acquisition of equipment deemed military in nature. We meet the requirements of the statute by securing approval from the City Council and submitting annual reports about usage, complaints, policy adherence, training, and costs. Assembly Bill 481 was passed in 2021 and implemented in 2022. AB 481 prohibits the funding, acquisition, and use of such equipment without council approval and ensures we maintain the trust of the community we serve through ongoing dialogue with the public. While the term military equipment might sound alarming to the public, it's important that we clarify what this designation entails under AB 481. Some of the items listed in the bill include less lethal launchers, precision rifles, diversionary devices, and patrol rifles. It also includes tracked armored vehicles, weaponized aircraft or vehicles, Humvees, and equipment to launch explosive projectiles or to conduct explosive breaching. And I should note that all of the stuff that's listed in AB 41 is not in possession of your police department. The tools listed as military equipment that the department does possess are not intended for militarization, but rather to enhance response capabilities in high-risk situations, thereby improving public safety and officer safety. The South Pasadena Police Department maintains a strategic inventory of equipment categorized under AB 41 as military equipment. This includes 40mm less lethal launchers and the related projectiles for less lethal impact or chemical deployments. The department also maintains an inventory of noise flash diversionary devices, which are commonly referred to as flashbangs. Our inventory also includes 4 long-range precision rifles and the ammunition for training and operational readiness. And importantly, none of the equipment has been acquired through military surplus programs. All of the purchases have been made through law enforcement vendors, and they were all completed before 2021, before AB 41 went into effect. One of the things that we should note also is we don't currently deploy all of the equipment that we have. The precision rifles and the flashbangs and the chemical munitions are locked for use when we someday have an event that would require that. As of right now, our personnel are not trained to use them, so they stay locked up. They don't go out in the field at all. The department also issues each officer a patrol rifle. Patrol rifles have been part of the standard equipment for our officers since 2005 and remain aligned with industry best practices for response to high-risk events, such as, we can all remember 1997, the North Hollywood shootout, the Columbine school shooting, and countless other subsequent acts of violence that law enforcement responds to. And we look no further than LA County's first mass school shooting actually occurred in South Pasadena, May 6th of 1940. So longer than we've been here, but still in memory. For the reporting period, there were no uses of the military equipment that South Pasadena Police Department holds. No uses of the 40mm launchers or the munitions, precision rifles, the patrol rifles, or the flashbangs. The only use that we had, which was not field related, was to conduct training with the 40mm launchers, and that's to ensure that our officers remain ready and familiar with that platform. For this training, officers use specified training projectiles in a controlled environment, and this one here is deployed in the field. This year's report highlights that there were no formal complaints, incidents, or officer-involved shootings that occurred in relation to the use of military equipment. And this is driven by the fact that there were no field deployments of the equipment in the first place. The public is empowered to submit feedback, complaints, or concerns through various accessible channels, including by phone, email, or the Postal Service. Thank you. Each of these avenues of reporting is outlined in the report and on the department's website. And we encourage continuous community dialogue through these contact methods, which helps us strengthen public trust and ensure transparency in meeting both our community expectations and our legal obligations. And like I said, because there were no field uses of the military equipment, we're happy to report that there were no violations of department policy related to the equipment. And while the department continues to maintain a small inventory of military equipment, I'd like to point out that all of the equipment, again, was purchased before 2022 and the implementation of AB 41. And our recorded costs for the year was $1,681.13, and that was for the 40mm training rounds. And that was included in our department's equipment budget. There's no grant funding or outside funding sources that were needed for that. Ongoing training is essential. I think we all agree on that. And that helps our officers maintain safety and professionalism in the field. We do try to prioritize internal training, ensuring that the staff remains proficient with their equipment and reducing the cost of sending officers out of the area for training. And that $1,681 and change was spent on the 40mm rounds. That was a 250 shot kit. That's enough for us to do 2 years worth of a training cycle. And they're reloadable and reusable. For our planned acquisitions, we're going to need to purchase 50 new exact impact, that's these foam rounds, to replace our existing inventory that has or will exceed the 5-year warranty period. The benefit of purchasing those new rounds is we will cycle the old ones into training. That kind of extends the life and reduces the cost of the training cycle because we don't have to use the training rounds. We can use up the old foam rounds. And the purchase of the new rounds is right around $1,000. And if you spread that out over the 5-year warranty period, it's $200 for the year. And with that, I will try to answer any questions. Okay.
So one of the, I'll do the easy question first.
Okay, perfect.
So one of the values of our city is sustainability. So being the fact that we have to replace inventory, and I know why we have to replace that inventory. Where does the old rounds go? Are they properly disposed of? Is there anything that we can do to make it more environmentally, I guess, environmentally sound?
Sure. So the bases are recyclable. They're aluminum. So those get sent out to our recycler who comes and picks up our spent brass and lead from the range. So those will go into the recycling. The plastic or the foam, I'm not sure how renewable or recyclable those are.
Questions as well. Where do we do the training?
So we've been doing our training on our range downstairs. We have a 25-yard range that we can deploy these on. These, and I should point out that these are segregated from our duty rounds because this will cause severe damage to somebody. So we keep them separate from what we deploy in the field. And so we allow each officer, usually each year, to fire 2 rounds with the training rounds, or if we have expired rounds, to shoot those. It gives them a chance to be familiar with the weapon system and actually fire under a controlled training environment.
Could you offer us any examples of circumstances? You named a few historic ones, perhaps older ones. What kind of circumstances would these tools be used?
So patrol rifles, if we're going to go on that end, because that's one of the ones that we have deployed. Any high risk event, so any kind of active shooter, active killer, any kind of bank robbery, anything that we have reports that there is an active threat or expect that there could be a threat that would require us to kind of level up our equipment. These would be deployed either in a similar situation, but maybe where we have the option to de-escalate. There's not that imminent threat that we're looking at. 40 millimeters are deployed kind of as that intermediate between you're too far away from my taser and it's not a less lethal encounter. So someone who's farther away, I can hit them with this when I can't hit them with my taser. And then we go from there to determine if they're going to respond appropriately to that or not. Those are the only 2 I can think of right now.
I have a question that is more practical to what the average citizen might ask. So as you know, we've had ICE raids in, the closest that I can think of is in Monterey Park, where it happened at the 99 Ranch on Atlantic and Garvey. So the average citizen, I think, wants to ask if that were to happen in our city, and we have had, protesters line up on Fair Oaks that I've seen. Are these, number one, are our local police going to be on the same side as our citizens, or do they have to do what the federal government wants them to, do what the federal government says? Or, and if so, are any of these military designated instruments, would they be used? in such cases?
That's a very broad question, and it's falling pretty far outside the scope of the military equipment use report. We don't participate in ICE raids or federal government operations. That's never been something that we've done. If there's a call for help, whether it's from a member of the public or another law enforcement member, we'll respond and do our best to sort things out between the people who are involved. There's no, I would say that the use of the equipment that we're talking about under these circumstances, I haven't seen yet, except for those cases where you've had demonstrations or protests that have gone with some outside agitators that tend to kind of escalate those things. That's when those, the 40 millimeter, we've all seen deployed on the news. I don't anticipate that happening here, but we also always want to be prepared for that eventuality.
With storage of these supplies, do you feel confident that that all measures have been taken to properly keep members of the PD and fire departments safe, so that there are no spontaneous ignitions, so that everybody's aware of safety procedures, and that the expiration of these supplies is properly tracked and knowledge, and there are people in the department knowledgeable on how to continue to track that?
Yes. Yeah. I learned that from Sergeant Abdallah, and he's created a pretty good spreadsheet on how we keep track of these things.
Does PD carry tourniquets?
Yes. Not on this uniform, but if I had my normal uniform, you'd see one on my gun belt. And we issue those to all our officers.
Thank you.
If our police department was asked to help out the Los Angeles unit, would we be using our own inventory to help out? Does that come into, figuring out like costs and, the financials? Would we be bearing the burden of that cost? I mean, I know the cost isn't that high, but.
Right. I understand that. Yes, we would be responding with our own equipment. And then depending on the severity of that incident, if by some chance we did deplete our inventory, I don't want to say I guarantee there's a process for reimbursement. I know in other circumstances there have been reimbursement plans. And I don't think they settle that up ahead of time, but I expect there would be some kind of reimbursement afterwards.
Since you brought up the issue of, since we're here for a special informative meeting and you're on the hot seat,
Yeah,
we're going to
that's
keep
what I'm here for.
you keep coming up with questions. But this is fascinating. I didn't know we have these types of supplies, although I guess if I would have thought about it hard, I would have imagined. Does PD actively practice with EMS in terms of extrications in hot and warm zones? And are there practices and protocols around that?
It's been a number of years since we've run a full-scale drill with the active shooter response commingled with the fire department response. Certainly something that we would like to bring back.
And just out of curiosity, has the police department ever put on any kind of informative piece on gun safety in South Pasadena?
Not to my knowledge, no.
So if there were an upcoming event, for example, with public safety, maybe not this year, but next year, that might be a good opportunity to talk about things like gun safety.
Absolutely.
I suspect that that kind of thing would be very much welcomed, and maybe even be an opportunity for community collaboration too. Is there any way of estimating the number of guns in our city?
Not that I'm aware of. We don't have like a registration database or anything like that. That's against the law. So we don't maintain anything like that.
Thank you for your presentation on this.
Thank you. And one thing I do want to point out is it might seem counterintuitive, but the lack of having to use these tools also speaks volumes to our officers' ability to de-escalate in these situations that do become tense. They're rapidly evolving, and still we're able to avoid, for the last 12 or 14 months, having this resort to a 40 millimeter or any weapon that's listed, actually.
At the last Safety Commission meeting, we were presented data on bicycle safety, so I will take gun safety as another option for programs that we can have at our local PTAs.
Absolutely, yeah. That's it. I got more answers if you guys want. No.
Thank you so much.
Commissioners, Shannon Robledo, Lieutenant with the Police Department. Commissioner Sanko, great question regarding the gun safety. Commissioner G, we do have readily available gun locks that are free of charge at at our front counter. So if someone comes in, request a gun lock, they're readily available. But you're definitely right. The gun safety is a priority for obviously not only us but the adults.
I just don't think people, the average citizen knows about it. Like the average citizen doesn't know about the ambulance service that our city offers. They don't know about the gun safety that you talk about. I just feel like in the past, we've talked about marketing and telling our citizens what we have available. A lot of people also don't know about like the vacation drive-by service. So I think if the police and fire department could, tell the public a little bit more about the services, I think that would be helpful.
Definitely agree with you, Commissioner. We do have a coffee with a cop coming up on October 22nd, and it's online right now. I don't know the exact details, but we'll have some pamphlets and information to share on that line there to during the coffee with a cop.
I think to that point, I wouldn't expect a flood of people coming to ask for locks for their guns. However, promotion of these things helps to increase the number of families that have these discussions in their homes and around their dinner table. And maybe not everybody does, but maybe a few people do. And I think that's tremendously, people on the receiving end in one way or another, be it through first response, be it through follow-up in our clinics or direct care when they come in shot. I think all of us can speak to the importance of these types of issues. And I think there's a great opportunity for somebody to run with.
Absolutely, Commissioner.
Gun safety, similar to availability of naloxone, similar to availability of tourniquets and understanding of direct compression and other things. These are community risk reduction measures that I think we could lean into even more and promote further discussion, especially amongst our school-age kids and their families. So thank you guys for everything you do around these topics.
Yeah,
Thank you, Commissioner.
we do appreciate everything you do. I would love to see more proactive outreach to the community. If we can help you out in any way, like we can put our scouts to do that. If the scouts can, go through the whole community and put flyers on doors, which they do for greenery sales, they can obviously put, doorknob hangers across the whole city. And then, oftentimes the elementary schools, we distribute papers in the backpacks for all the kids. So if we just had information on like neighborhood watch, bike safety, gun safety, all the services that, your departments offer, basic, layman's terms, I think it would be such a wonderful service. So yeah, I would love to see just proactive outreach to the community. But I know you guys do so much, and we really appreciate that.
To that point too, amongst the stakeholders you mentioned, plus I think we have a critical mass of public safety leaders who live in our community and healthcare providers that live in our community that I'm sure would be happy to contribute to things like articles for the South Pasadena and to highlight these things and also the good work and thoughts that you guys have around them. So I would say ask us how tell us how you can use us.
Absolutely. And Commissioners, I'm glad you brought it up. We can always do a better job in advertising certain things to make not only ourselves better, but our community safer. Just keep on a lookout for, we are going to have a Citizen Academy coming up. It's being planned. It's actually going to be next month, and we will advertise it within the next couple of days. Thank you.
Are there any other further comments from commission members or from the staff or the audience? Seeing none, I will adjourn today's meeting at 5:13 p.m. And our next regular meeting will be on October 28th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m.